Welcome to Ultimate Sleep Doctor. Tonight, we'll gently explore a mystery woven into the very fabric of our nightly rest. For countless years, humanity has been captivated by dreams, these secret landscapes painted within our minds. Science suggests they aren't random, but rather a complex process, a neurological dance unfolding as we transition between wakefulness and sleep. It's a fascinating window into our emotions, our memories, and perhaps even our deepest selves. Consider this. Every dream holds a fragment of your experience, a reflection of your inner world. As you settle into the quiet, let's discover the scientific reasoning behind this universal experience. If you find these explorations soothing, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Ultimate Sleep Doctor. Together, we can soothe more wandering minds, one peaceful night at a time. Just breathe, let your thoughts drift. Let's begin. The human brain, a marvel of complexity, still holds echoes of our ancient past. When we sleep, particularly during the vivid phase of REM, rapid eye movement, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. We dream. But this nightly theater of bizarre narratives, floating anxieties, and impossible landscapes isn't simply a byproduct of a busy brain. Scientists believe dreaming has deep evolutionary roots, originating in the very survival instincts of our distant ancestors, the early hominids. It's a surprisingly practical idea, suggesting that what seems like a fantastical experience is, in fact, a honed neurological mechanism designed to keep our forebears safe and connected. The prevailing theory centers around threat simulation. Early hominids like Australopithecus and early Homo lived in a world brimming with danger. Predators, large cats, hyenas, even packs of wild dogs posed a constant threat. The environment itself was perilous. Sudden floods, collapsing trees, treacherous terrain. It's unlikely they could have simply learned how to react to every conceivable danger. Instead, the brain developed a way to rehearse responses, a kind of mental training ground operating during sleep. During REM sleep, the brain releases neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, which mimic the state of being fight or flight, the body's automatic response to perceived danger. This heightened state triggers vivid sensory experiences, often unsettling ones, but crucially, it's a controlled environment. The hominid unknowingly would be confronted with simulated threats, a shadowy figure representing a predator, a crumbling cliff representing a hazardous environment, a group of individuals embodying potential rivals. These experiences, though frightening, weren't real. They were neurological exercises strengthening the connections between the sensory cortex, the motor cortex, and the amygdala, the brain's emotional center. Over time, repeated simulations would have improved their ability to react swiftly and effectively to genuine threats when they arose. It's a fascinating example of practice makes perfect. But instead of swinging a sword, the hominid was swinging through a nightmare. Further supporting this idea is the observation that dream content frequently involves scenarios related to survival. Many dreams feature being chased, falling, being lost, or struggling to obtain resources like food or water. These are all directly relevant to the challenges faced by early hominids. Moreover, the intensity of the dream, the degree of physiological arousal often correlates with the perceived threat level in the waking world. If a hominid was experiencing stress or anxiety, the dream might feature a particularly intense and frightening scenario, reinforcing the link between emotional state and dream content. Researchers have even explored the possibility that certain recurring dream themes, like being unprepared or vulnerable, could represent a subconscious recognition of past dangers and a drive to avoid similar situations in the future. However, the evolutionary roots of dreaming aren't solely focused on individual survival. Another significant theory posits that dreaming played a crucial role in social bonding and cohesion within early hominid groups. Living in close-knit communities would have been essential for survival, and dreaming likely facilitated the maintenance of these social connections. Dreams often involve interactions with other individuals, sometimes familiar, sometimes not. These dream encounters can be collaborative, competitive, or even hostile, mirroring the dynamics within the hominid group. Researchers have proposed that dreaming about social interactions could have served as a way for individuals to rehearse social skills, learning how to negotiate, cooperate, or resolve conflicts. It's plausible that these nocturnal rehearsals influence their behavior during the day, promoting smoother interactions within the group. Furthermore, dreams might have helped to consolidate shared memories and experiences within the community. If a group had successfully hunted a large animal, the dream could have served as a way to reinforce the knowledge of the hunt, the strategies employed, and the roles played by each individual. This shared dream experience would have strengthened the bonds between group members and ensured that the knowledge was passed down to future generations. Interestingly, the content of dreams frequently reflects the social hierarchy of the group. Dreams might have involved encountering figures who held positions of authority, allowing individuals to observe and potentially learn from the behaviors of those in power. It's also possible that dreams provided a safe space to explore alternative social roles and challenge established hierarchies, promoting social mobility and innovation within the group. The specific mechanisms underlying these social aspects of dreaming are still being investigated, but the evidence suggests that the brain's ability to simulate social interactions, even within the confines of a dream, was a valuable adaptation for early hominids. The capacity to anticipate and respond to social cues, to understand the motivations and intentions of others, would have been crucial for success in a complex social environment. It's important to note that these theories aren't mutually exclusive. It's highly likely that dreaming served multiple purposes, integrating both threat simulation and social bonding. The early hominid brain was a remarkably versatile instrument, capable of harnessing the power of sleep to enhance survival and strengthen social connections. By understanding the evolutionary roots of dreaming, we gain a deeper appreciation for the intricate workings of the human mind, a mind shaped by millions of years of adaptation to a challenging and unpredictable world. The nightly theater we experience isn't a random collection of images. It's a testament to the enduring legacy of our ancestors, a legacy etched into the very fabric of our dreams. The nocturnal world holds a secret, a vibrant theater unfolding within our own minds while we sleep. The key to understanding this nightly spectacle lies in a specific stage of sleep, a stage characterized by dramatic physiological shifts, rapid eye movement sleep, or REM. REM sleep isn't simply a passive state of rest. It's an intensely active period where the brain undergoes a remarkable transformation, meticulously preparing the conditions for the vivid and often bizarre experiences we call dreams. During non-REM sleep, the body settles into a state of relative calm. Breathing and heart rate slow, muscles relax, and the brain waves become predominantly slow, exhibiting the familiar delta waves. This is a restorative phase, crucial for physical repair and consolidating memories formed during the day. However, REM sleep begins to introduce a completely different order of operations. As the night progresses, and individuals typically reach the fourth stage of sleep, the brain begins to exhibit a distinct pattern of rapid, jerky eye movements under the eyelids. This is the hallmark of REM sleep, and it's inextricably linked to the other profound changes that occur within the body. The most immediately noticeable change is the dramatic increase in brain activity. While non-REM sleep is characterized by decreased neural firing, REM sleep sees a surge. The amplitude of brain waves increases significantly, resembling the activity levels observed during wakefulness. This heightened activity isn't random. It's focused on specific regions of the brain, particularly the limbic system, the emotional center, and the visual cortex. The limbic system, responsible for processing emotions like fear, joy, and sadness, becomes incredibly active, likely contributing to the emotional intensity frequently reported within dreams. Simultaneously, the visual cortex, responsible for processing sight, is firing intensely, generating the visual imagery that dominates the dream experience. Another critical physiological change is the suppression of most large muscle movements. This is achieved through a complex interplay of neurotransmitters, most notably norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter normally involved in alertness and arousal. During REM sleep, the levels of norepinephrine plummet, effectively shutting down the motor loop, the neural circuitry that allows for voluntary muscle movement. This explains why we're essentially paralyzed during REM sleep. The brain is actively trying to prevent us from acting out our dreams. The degree of muscle inhibition isn't absolute, however. Some studies have revealed that subtle twitches and movements can occur, suggesting that the motor loop isn't entirely silenced, just severely dampened. The respiratory system also undergoes significant alterations. Breathing becomes irregular, characterized by periods of rapid, shallow breaths alternating with pauses. Heart rate similarly fluctuates, often increasing and decreasing dramatically. These changes are largely independent of the conscious control of the autonomic nervous system, which typically regulates breathing and heart rate. The exact reasons for these respiratory shifts during REM sleep are still being investigated, but theories suggest they may be related to the increased oxygen demands of the highly active brain, or possibly a physiological response to the intense emotional experiences occurring within the dream. Furthermore, brain temperature drops noticeably during REM sleep, a phenomenon often observed in the waking state. This cooling effect is believed to be linked to the overall reduction in metabolic activity within the brain. The fluctuations in brain activity are also accompanied by changes in the levels of certain neurotransmitters, including serotonin and dopamine, which are associated with mood regulation and reward. These neurotransmitter shifts may contribute to the feelings of euphoria or intense emotion that are common in dreams. The neural networks involved in REM sleep aren't simply mirroring those active during waking consciousness. Instead, there's evidence of a dynamic reorganization of brain circuits, allowing for novel combinations of sensory information and emotional experiences to be processed. This may be the root of the strange and illogical scenario that frequently play out in dreams. The brain isn't constrained by the logical rules of waking thought. It's free to explore entirely new possibilities. Research utilizing techniques like electroencephalography, EEG, and polysomnography, PSG, which involves monitoring multiple physiological parameters simultaneously, has provided invaluable insights into the complex processes occurring during REM sleep. These studies have demonstrated the distinct neural patterns associated with different dream phases, allowing scientists to identify the specific brain regions involved in dream generation and to understand how these processes are influenced by factors such as emotions, memories, and external stimuli. The duration of REM sleep cycles varies throughout the night, typically increasing in length as the night progresses. A single REM cycle lasts for approximately 91-20 seconds, and individuals typically experience 4-6 REM cycles per night. The content of the dreams experienced during each cycle can vary significantly, ranging from incredibly realistic and detailed narratives to fragmented images and fleeting sensations. Importantly, it's increasingly recognized that REM sleep isn't just about creating dreams. It plays a crucial role in cognitive function. Recent research suggests that REM sleep is essential for synaptic plasticity, the ability of synapses, the connections between neurons, to strengthen or weaken over time. This process is fundamental for learning and memory consolidation. It's hypothesized that during REM sleep, the brain replays and refines memories formed during the day, strengthening important connections and pruning away irrelevant ones. The science surrounding REM sleep and dreaming is still evolving, and many questions remain unanswered. However, the evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that REM sleep is a remarkably complex and vital stage of sleep, a stage that uniquely facilitates the creation of dreams and plays a crucial role in maintaining cognitive health. It's a hidden world of neuronal activity, a nightly performance orchestrated by the brain, revealing a fundamental aspect of what it means to be a dreaming human. The intricate tapestry of dreaming isn't woven solely by the rhythmic movements of REM sleep or the echoes of ancestral survival instincts. A more subtle, yet profoundly influential force operates beneath the surface: the precise choreography of neurotransmitters within the brain. These chemical messengers, normally involved in regulating our waking thoughts and feelings, dramatically shift their activity during sleep, establishing the bizarre, intensely emotional, and often illogical landscapes of our dreams. Understanding their roles is beginning to unlock the mysteries of why we journey into these unique mental realms. Acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter famously linked to memory and attention, plays a particularly prominent role in dream generation. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels surge to astonishing heights, significantly higher than those observed in any other stage of sleep. This dramatic increase is believed to be the primary driver of the vivid imagery and bizarre narratives that characterize dreams. It's not simply about remembering waking experiences. Instead, acetylcholine seems to actively stimulate the sensory cortices of the brain, the areas responsible for vision, hearing, touch, and even taste, even in the absence of external stimulation. These stimulated areas fire randomly, producing the hallucinatory sensations we experience as dreams. The intensity of the dream, then, is directly correlated with the magnitude of this acetylcholine surge. Furthermore, acetylcholine's influence extends to the consolidation of memories. It's proposed that fragments of memories, both conscious and unconscious, are replayed and reprocessed during REM, guided by this intense neurotransmitter activity. This process isn't about neatly filing away data. It's a more chaotic and exploratory engagement with the brain's existing information stores. However, acetylcholine isn't the only player. Serotonin, normally associated with feelings of well-being, mood regulation, and promoting wakefulness, undergoes a counterintuitive shift during REM sleep. As serotonin levels decrease, a state of reduced wakefulness facilitates the transition into REM. But crucially, the remaining serotonin interacts with acetylcholine in a complex way. It appears to act as a sort of brake on the excessively vivid and emotionally charged imagery produced by acetylcholine. Without this modulation, dreams would likely be unbearably overwhelming, a constant barrage of sensory information. Serotonin's influence isn't just about dampening the intensity. It also seems to shape the emotional tone of dreams, leaning towards more neutral or less intensely charged experiences. Research suggests that individuals with lower baseline serotonin levels may experience more frequently disturbing or intense dreams. It's a delicate balance. Sufficient serotonin prevents total sensory overload, while insufficient levels allow the full, unfiltered potential of acetylcholine to manifest. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter strongly linked to reward, motivation, and pleasure, also contributes significantly to the dream experience, particularly concerning its emotional content. While acetylcholine and serotonin primarily drive the content of dreams, dopamine is deeply involved in amplifying the feeling of those dreams. During REM sleep, dopamine levels increase, mirroring the neurochemical changes associated with reward anticipation and positive reinforcement. This heightened dopamine activity likely explains why dreams often involve intensely pleasurable experiences. The feeling of flying, achieving a goal, or reuniting with loved ones. These dream scenarios, regardless of their logical consistency, are powerfully associated with dopamine's reward signal. Moreover, dopamine appears to be involved in the consolidation of emotional memories. It strengthens the connections between neurons involved in emotionally significant experiences, making those memories more resilient over time. The dream state, therefore, may be a crucial stage in this process, allowing the brain to rehearse emotional responses and practice navigating difficult situations, albeit in a profoundly distorted and symbolic format. It's theorized that the bizarre and often absurd elements of dreams, the talking animals, the impossible scenarios, actually serve a purpose in facilitating this emotional learning. These unusual situations force the brain to adapt, to find solutions, and to develop coping mechanisms. The interplay between these three neurotransmitters, acetylcholine, serotonin, and dopamine, is incredibly complex and tightly regulated. Scientists are still working to fully understand the precise mechanisms involved, but it's clear that their dynamic interaction is fundamental to the creation and experience of dreams. It's not simply a matter of one neurotransmitter causing a dream. It's a synergistic process where the activity of each chemical messenger influences and shapes the others, ultimately constructing the unique and often perplexing narratives that unfold within our minds as we sleep. The relative balance of these signals can be affected by a range of factors, including stress, diet, and medication, demonstrating the profound influence of our external environment on the inner landscape of our dreams. Research continues to shed light on this fascinating area, suggesting that the science of dreaming is rapidly evolving, moving beyond simple explanations and towards a more nuanced understanding of this most mysterious aspect of the human experience. The intricate dance of sleep, particularly the deep, vibrant realm of rapid eye movement sleep, has long fascinated scientists and dreamers alike. While we've begun to understand the complex interplay of neurotransmitters and the specific physiological shifts occurring during REM, a significant and influential perspective on dreaming emerged in the late 1970s, spearheaded by neuroscientist Dr. Stephen Hobson and his team at University College London. This theory, known as the activation synthesis theory, offers a remarkably stark and fascinating explanation. Dreams aren't constructed narratives with deep meaning, but rather, they are the brain's unconscious attempt to impose order upon a chaotic stream of random neural activity. Hobson's central premise rested on a compelling observation. During REM sleep, the pons, a structure located in the brainstem, becomes incredibly active. This activation triggers a cascade of electrical impulses throughout the cortex, the outermost layer of the brain responsible for higher-level thinking, sensory processing, and conscious experience. However, the pons doesn't send a message. It simply initiates this intense, undirected firing. The cortex, having no prior knowledge or expectations, receives this barrage of signals and, in an effort to make sense of it, begins to construct a story, a scene, an emotion, anything to create a coherent experience. Consider it like this. Imagine a room suddenly filled with flashing lights and random noises. There's no logical source for the illumination or the sounds. Your brain, instinctively seeking patterns, would start to assign meaning to them. You might interpret the flashes as signals, the noises as voices, and build a narrative around that interpretation, even if it's completely fantastical. The activation synthesis theory proposes that the cortex is doing something remarkably similar during REM sleep. It's not dreaming in the sense of deliberately creating a story. Instead, it's creating a story from the random firing. The key to understanding this theory lies in the concept of activation and synthesis. Activation refers to the initial uncontrolled neural firing originating in the pons. It's a spontaneous, meaningless burst of electrical activity. The synthesis is the cortex's response, the brain's subsequent attempt to construct a narrative, a feeling, or a scene to provide a framework for this activation. This framework is entirely arbitrary. It doesn't reflect any real-life experiences, memories, or concerns. Instead, it's a product of the cortex's inherent drive to find order within chaos. Importantly, Hobson's team used electroencephalography, EEG, the technique of monitoring brain activity using electrodes, to gather evidence supporting their theory. They meticulously recorded the patterns of brainwave activity during REM sleep and found that the patterns were indeed highly disorganized and random. They observed bursts of delta waves, slow, high-amplitude waves associated with deep sleep, interspersed with bursts of theta waves associated with drowsiness, and crucially, frequent, unpredictable shifts between these rhythms. This indicated that there wasn't a single dominant brainwave pattern driving the dream experience. Furthermore, they demonstrated that altering the level of activation in the pons through techniques like administering drugs that suppressed REM sleep directly affected the content of dreams. When activation was reduced, the dreams became simpler, less elaborate, and often involved only basic sensory experiences, like flashes of color or the feeling of movement. Conversely, increasing activation resulted in more complex and bizarre dreams. This strongly suggested that the level of random neural firing was the primary determinant of dream content, rather than a pre-existing narrative. The theory doesn't dismiss the emotional intensity often found in dreams. Hobson and his team proposed that the cortex's response to activation doesn't necessarily need to be a coherent narrative to evoke a strong emotional reaction. The sheer intensity of the electrical impulses, regardless of their origin, could trigger feelings of fear, joy, sadness, or confusion. The brain's default response is to assign an emotional tag to the experience, regardless of its logical basis. It's crucial to recognize that the activation synthesis theory isn't intended to be a denial of the profound and personal nature of dreams. Rather, it offers a scientific explanation for how dreams are constructed. It proposes that the content of our dreams is less about what we're thinking and more about what our brains are doing, frantically trying to make sense of a random electrical storm. While subsequent research has introduced refinements and complexities to the theory, its fundamental premise, that dreams are byproducts of the brain's attempt to impose order on random neural activity, remains a cornerstone of our understanding of this mysterious and captivating phenomenon. It's a testament to the power of scientific observation and a reminder that even the most surreal and bizarre experiences can be explained through the lens of neurological processes. The activation synthesis theory continues to be a valuable framework for exploring the nature of consciousness and the ongoing dance between our brains and our dreams. The prevailing view of dreams for many years was one of largely random neural activity, a byproduct of the brain settling down after a day of intense processing. However, a compelling alternative theory has gained significant traction in recent decades: the threat simulation theory. This theory proposes that dreaming isn't just a strange, unpredictable diversion, but rather a crucial evolutionary adaptation, a sophisticated training ground for dealing with real-world dangers. It suggests our brains, over millennia, have developed a system specifically designed to rehearse responses to potentially harmful scenarios, honing our instincts and preparing us for the unexpected. At its core, the threat simulation theory rests on the observation that humans, across cultures and throughout history, consistently report dreaming about threatening events, predators, attackers, natural disasters, and social conflicts. It's not simply that we think about these things before sleep. It's the vivid, emotionally charged nature of the dreams themselves that's so significant. The theory suggests these dreams aren't passively experienced. Instead, they actively engage the same neural pathways involved in real-time threat perception and response. A cornerstone of supporting this idea is the study of neurological activity during dreams, particularly in the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped structure deep within the brain. The amygdala is the primary hub for processing emotions, especially fear and aggression. Research using fMRI technology has repeatedly shown heightened activity in the amygdala during REM sleep, specifically when individuals are experiencing dreams containing threatening content. This isn't a random surge. The intensity of the activation correlates strongly with the perceived threat level within the dream. It's as if the dream is triggering the same neurological machinery as if you were actually facing danger. Furthermore, the theory posits that dreaming allows us to practice responses without the real-world consequences. Consider a scenario. Imagine you are dreaming you are being chased by a large animal. You instinctively run, perhaps dodging obstacles, using your arms to defend yourself, and ultimately escaping. While this isn't a physical fight, the neural processes involved in those actions, the rapid decision-making, the mobilization of muscles, the assessment of threats, are precisely the same as they would be in a genuine life-or-death situation. The brain is exercising these circuits, strengthening the connections and refining the strategies. The theory extends beyond simple physical threats. It also incorporates the simulation of social and relational dangers. Many dreams feature interactions with hostile or manipulative figures, or scenarios involving betrayal and conflict. This suggests a training ground for navigating complex social dynamics, recognizing deceptive behavior, and formulating defensive strategies within a potentially treacherous social environment. It's proposed that by repeatedly encountering simulated social threats in our dreams, our brains develop increased sensitivity to subtle cues, changes in facial expressions, vocal tone, or body language that might indicate danger or deception. Crucially, the threat simulation theory doesn't dismiss the role of emotional regulation. The experience of confronting a threat in a dream, even if ultimately resolved favorably, can be a powerful tool for reducing anxiety and fear. By repeatedly running through difficult scenarios, we build resilience and reduce the emotional impact of potentially overwhelming threats in waking life. It's like mentally preparing for a difficult conversation. The very act of considering the possibilities and formulating a plan can reduce anxiety. Research into the specific types of dreams that seem to be most prevalent, particularly those involving escape, aggression, or social conflict, strongly supports this notion. Studies have shown that individuals who frequently report these dream types tend to exhibit greater resilience to stress and are better equipped to handle real-world challenges. Interestingly, there's also evidence suggesting a link between dream content and subsequent waking behavior. For example, individuals who frequently dream about aggressive interactions may be more likely to display assertive behavior in social situations, while those who frequently dream about escape may demonstrate greater problem-solving abilities when confronted with obstacles. However, the threat simulation theory isn't without its critics. One ongoing debate centers around the degree to which dreams are truly rehearsals. Some argue that the fragmented and illogical nature of many dreams makes them an inadequate training ground. If dreams are merely a jumble of random neural firing, it's difficult to explain the consistent patterns and thematic elements observed across cultures and individuals. Nevertheless, even proponents acknowledge the need for further investigation into the precise mechanisms by which dreams might contribute to adaptive behavior. Recent research is beginning to explore the potential role of offline learning, the process by which we internalize knowledge and skills through experience, and how this might interact with the dream-based simulations. It's increasingly believed that dreams are not simply passive recordings of our waking experiences, but rather actively shape our understanding of the world and our responses to it. The ongoing exploration of this intricate relationship between dreaming and adaptive behavior holds the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of the profound role dreams play in the human condition. The theory, while still evolving, provides a compelling framework for understanding why we dream and why those strange and often unsettling nocturnal narratives might be far more important than we previously imagined. The field of dream research has always been tantalizingly close to unraveling a fundamental mystery: why our minds create these elaborate, often bizarre, narratives while we sleep. For many years, the prevailing theories centered on neurological processes, attempting to understand the physical mechanisms behind dream construction. However, a more recent and increasingly compelling line of inquiry focuses on the role of our waking emotional lives in shaping the content of our dreams. This approach, known as the negative emotion hypothesis, suggests that the frequency and intensity of negative experiences during the day directly correlate with the prevalence of disturbing or unpleasant dream content. It's not simply about dreaming about something bad, but about a deeper connection between our emotional landscape and the stories our brains weave during sleep. Researchers began to explore this connection through a variety of methods, often employing sophisticated techniques like dream journals, and more recently, utilizing functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, to observe brain activity during and immediately after the experience of negative emotions. Early studies relied heavily on self-reported dream diaries. Participants were asked to meticulously record their dreams, focusing not just on the narrative, but also on any significant emotional events they'd encountered throughout their waking day. A surprising pattern began to emerge. Individuals who reported experiencing higher levels of stress, anxiety, fear, or anger in their daily lives tended to have a disproportionately higher number of nightmares or dreams containing elements of threat, aggression, and loss. The initial research wasn't about definitively proving a causal link. It was about establishing a correlation. But the strength of this correlation was remarkable. For instance, studies involving individuals undergoing prolonged periods of intense psychological stress, for example, those undergoing bereavement counseling or participating in simulated combat training, consistently revealed a surge in dreams populated with frightening scenarios, violent confrontations, and feelings of helplessness. It was as though the brain, burdened by these unresolved anxieties, was attempting to process and grapple with them through the pliable medium of the dream state. The research expanded beyond simply noting the presence of negative emotions. Scientists started to investigate the type of negative emotions. It wasn't just about experiencing outright terror. Subtle, chronic anxieties and worries often translated into recurring dream themes of being pursued, trapped, or failing to meet expectations. Furthermore, the intensity of the emotion seemed to be a key factor. A minor frustration might result in a fleeting, slightly unsettling dream, while a deeply traumatic event could manifest as a persistent, overwhelming nightmare. A crucial element of this hypothesis centers on the role of memory consolidation, the process by which the brain strengthens and integrates new memories. Researchers theorize that the brain doesn't neatly compartmentalize experiences. Instead, it attempts to weave them into existing neural networks. When a significant negative emotion is experienced, the brain creates a heightened state of arousal, flooding the system with neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, traditionally associated with the fight or flight response. This heightened state strengthens the neural pathways associated with the negative event, making it more readily accessible during sleep. Simultaneously, the brain appears to replay these activated pathways, not necessarily in a literal, chronological manner, but in a way that allows the brain to continue processing the associated emotions and anxieties. This repetition isn't a random occurrence. It's a form of adaptive learning. The dream state, with its malleable reality and lack of immediate consequences, provides a safe space to rehearse responses to these anxieties, potentially equipping the individual with coping strategies, even if those strategies are manifested in the highly symbolic language of dreams. More recent research has explored the potential involvement of the amygdala, the brain's primary center for processing fear and threat. Studies using fMRI have demonstrated that increased activity in the amygdala is consistently observed during the reporting of nightmares and during the experience of intense negative emotions. This heightened amygdala activity seems to trigger a cascade of events, activating other brain regions involved in emotional regulation and memory consolidation, ultimately influencing the dream content. Interestingly, the negative emotion hypothesis isn't solely about experiencing negative emotions. It also considers the anticipation of negative events. Individuals who habitually worry about potential dangers, even if those dangers never materialize, often report having dreams filled with feelings of impending doom or vulnerability. This suggests that the brain is constantly scanning for threats, even when no actual threat is present, and that this vigilance is reflected in the dream state. Furthermore, the hypothesis acknowledges the potential for dreams to serve as a form of emotional reset. By repeatedly confronting and processing negative emotions in the dream world, the brain may be able to gradually reduce their intensity and impact in waking life. This is not to say that dreams are a cure for anxiety or trauma, but they can provide a valuable outlet for emotional release and a gradual opportunity for emotional recalibration. It's important to note that the negative emotion hypothesis doesn't operate in isolation. It's most effective when considered alongside other theories of dream generation, such as those related to memory consolidation and threat simulation. It offers a powerful framework for understanding the complex relationship between our waking experiences and the often bewildering narratives that unfold during our sleep. Ongoing research continues to refine our understanding of this intricate interplay, and future studies promise to unlock even more secrets about the purpose and profound significance of our dreams. The prevailing view of dreams for many years was, understandably, a rather bleak one. The dominant narrative centered around the idea of random neural firings, a chaotic, meaningless dance of the brain's electrical activity during the rapid eye movement phase of sleep. But as scientists continued to delve deeper into the complexities of the sleeping mind, a compelling alternative began to emerge, suggesting that dreams weren't simply a byproduct of neurological processes, but rather a surprisingly insightful mirror reflecting our waking lives. This is the story of the continuity hypothesis, a theory that posits dreams are fundamentally rooted in the ongoing stream of our thoughts, emotions, and experiences while we're awake. At the heart of the continuity hypothesis lies the concept of cognitive residue. It proposes that as we go about our days, we accumulate a vast reservoir of mental activity, anxieties, worries, unresolved conflicts, intensely held beliefs, and even mundane observations, all of which remain partially active in our subconscious minds. These aren't completely forgotten. They exist in a state of reduced but not extinguished awareness. During sleep, particularly during REM sleep, the brain doesn't completely shut down these ongoing processes. Instead, they're reactivated, often in a distorted and symbolic form. Think of it like a recording that's been played repeatedly, slowly degrading and taking on an eerie quality. The original signal is still there, but it's overlaid with static and imperfections. The key to understanding this process involves examining the role of memory consolidation. We know that sleep isn't just about rest. It's a profoundly active period of learning and memory processing. During REM sleep, the brain is continually replaying and refining experiences from the day, strengthening connections between neurons. The continuity hypothesis suggests this process isn't solely focused on strengthening positive memories. Instead, it also tends to pull up and re-examine whatever was most prominent in our consciousness, whether it was a frustrating interaction at work, a deep-seated fear, or a cherished moment. The emotional charge associated with these experiences is critical. The brain seems particularly sensitive to the emotional significance of an event, and it's this emotional intensity that often drives the content of the dream. Researchers have explored this connection through various studies. One prominent line of investigation utilizes dream journals. Participants are asked to meticulously record their dreams, along with detailed accounts of their waking activities, concerns, and emotional states. The goal is to identify correlations between specific dream themes and events occurring during the day. For example, a person struggling with a difficult decision at work might repeatedly dream of being trapped in a maze, while someone facing relationship anxieties might find themselves in dream scenarios involving lost keys or missed connections. These aren't coincidences. They point to a demonstrable link between waking preoccupation and dream content. Furthermore, the theory incorporates the idea of threat rehearsal. While the threat simulation theory proposed dreams as a general practice in confronting potential dangers, the continuity hypothesis reframes this through the lens of personal anxieties. If you've been worrying about a presentation at work, the dream might not be a generalized fear of public speaking, but a highly personalized and vivid replay of the specific circumstances that are causing you stress. The dream becomes a space where you subconsciously grapple with the anxieties associated with that particular situation, attempting to generate coping strategies or simply process the emotional distress. The fear isn't a primal instinct. It's a manifestation of a very real and actively held worry. It's important to acknowledge that the continuity hypothesis isn't meant to be a rigid, deterministic model. It doesn't suggest that dreams are merely transcripts of our waking lives. Rather, it proposes a dynamic interplay. The dream content is influenced by waking experiences, but it's also shaped by the brain's own creative processes and the inherent qualities of REM sleep. The brain isn't simply recording, it's actively interpreting and transforming. The symbolic nature of dreams, the recurring motifs, the bizarre imagery, is a testament to this creative process. The theory also addresses the intriguing aspect of recurring dreams. If a particular anxiety or concern keeps surfacing in your dreams, the continuity hypothesis suggests this isn't accidental. It indicates that the underlying issue hasn't been fully resolved in your waking life. The dream continues to present itself as a persistent reminder, a subconscious call to action. It's as if the brain is saying, "You haven't truly addressed this. Pay attention." Moreover, the hypothesis offers a potential explanation for the often vague and fragmented nature of dreams. Because the brain is reprocessing a multitude of competing thoughts and emotions, the dream narrative can become disjointed and surreal. The goal isn't a coherent story. It's a focused exploration of an underlying preoccupation. It's a concentrated burst of mental activity, attempting to make sense of a complex and potentially overwhelming stream of consciousness. While the activation synthesis theory proposes a random origin for dreams, the continuity hypothesis suggests that even when dreams appear bizarre or nonsensical, there's usually a thematic thread running through them, a reflection of the anxieties, concerns, and unresolved issues that are shaping our waking lives. It's a sophisticated system, operating largely beneath the surface of our awareness, using the unique environment of REM sleep to grapple with the complexities of being human. Ultimately, the continuity hypothesis adds a layer of profound insight to our understanding of dreams. It moves beyond simply explaining how dreams happen to explore why they happen, suggesting that dreams aren't just a neurological quirk, but a valuable, albeit often challenging, tool for self-reflection and emotional processing. It invites us to consider our dreams not as random noise, but as messages from the hidden landscapes of our own minds. Sleep isn't simply a period of rest for the body. It's a profoundly active time, a complex orchestration of processes vital to our daily functioning. While theories like the threat simulation and emotional processing offer compelling insights into the why of dreaming, a particularly robust and increasingly supported explanation centers on the crucial role of memory consolidation. This theory posits that dreams aren't random, bizarre narratives, but rather a dedicated system for strengthening and organizing the memories we've accumulated throughout the day. It's a process akin to filing documents in a meticulously organized archive, ensuring the most important information remains readily accessible. The foundation of this theory rests on the understanding of synaptic plasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to modify its connections over time. When we learn something new, whether it's the name of a colleague, the rules of a game, or the steps involved in a complex task, it triggers a cascade of events within specific brain regions. Initially, these connections are fragile. They're relatively weak and easily disrupted. These newly formed memories, predominantly residing in the hippocampus, a small but powerful structure deeply involved in learning and memory, are highly susceptible to interference and fading. The hippocampus acts as a temporary holding area, meticulously recording the details of the experience. However, it's not designed for long-term storage. The memory consolidation theory suggests that dreams, particularly those occurring during the deeper stages of sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, are directly involved in systematically strengthening these hippocampal traces and gradually transferring them to the neocortex, the brain's outer layer responsible for higher-level cognitive functions. Think of it like repeatedly visiting a document in your hippocampus. Each time you review it, you reinforce the connections related to that memory, making it more stable and resistant to disruption. During slow-wave sleep, the neocortex becomes exceptionally receptive to this influx of information. Electrical activity, characterized by large, slow waves, facilitates the transport of memory signals from the hippocampus to the neocortex. The timing of this transfer is remarkably precise. Evidence suggests that memories are consolidated in stages, linked to specific sleep cycles. Initially, declarative memories, those we can consciously recall, like facts and events, are strengthened. Then procedural memories, those involving skills and habits, such as riding a bicycle or playing a musical instrument, are reinforced. This cyclical process, occurring throughout the night, gradually reduces the reliance on the hippocampus for these memories. Over time, the neocortex becomes capable of retrieving and utilizing these memories independently. Furthermore, the theory incorporates the idea of replay. Researchers have discovered that during sleep, the brain spontaneously replays sequences of neural activity that were active during waking experiences. This isn't a passive copying, it's an active reconstruction, subtly altered and refined with each replay. It's similar to a skilled musician practicing a piece repeatedly, honing their technique and solidifying their performance. These neural replays, often detected through electroencephalography, EEG, are believed to be crucial in strengthening the connections associated with the memories being consolidated. The specific content of dreams during this consolidation period is thought to be influenced by the importance and emotional significance of the experiences being processed. Memories that are frequently accessed or emotionally charged tend to be prioritized for consolidation. This explains why we might vividly remember a particularly stressful day or a significant accomplishment. These experiences are actively being reinforced during our sleep. It also helps explain why dreams often feature fragmented, symbolic imagery. The brain isn't necessarily constructing a linear narrative, but rather focusing on the core elements of the memory and their associated emotional weight. Interestingly, research using sleep deprivation, intentionally preventing sleep, has provided strong support for the memory consolidation theory. Individuals deprived of sleep demonstrate a significant impairment in their ability to consolidate new memories. They struggle to learn new tasks, retain information, and form new habits. This clearly demonstrates that sleep is not merely a period of inactivity, but a critical window for optimizing memory formation. Conversely, extended periods of sleep have been shown to dramatically improve memory performance. Moreover, recent advancements in neuroimaging techniques, like functional MRI, are allowing scientists to observe the brain activity that occurs during sleep and memory consolidation in real time. These studies have identified specific brain regions, including the prefrontal cortex, which plays a role in executive function and strategic planning, that are highly active during this process. The prefrontal cortex appears to be involved in selecting and prioritizing memories for consolidation, ensuring that the most relevant information is effectively transferred to long-term storage. It's important to acknowledge that the memory consolidation theory doesn't fully explain all aspects of dreaming. The subjective experience of dreaming, the vivid imagery, the bizarre narratives, the emotional intensity, remains a complex and fascinating area of research. However, the theory provides a compelling framework for understanding the fundamental purpose of dreams. to systematically strengthen and organize our memories, transforming fleeting experiences into the solid foundation of our knowledge and skills. The intricate dance between hippocampal activity and neocortical integration during sleep ultimately shapes who we are and how we interact with the world. The ongoing investigation into this process continues to reveal the remarkable power and complexity of the sleeping brain. The intricate dance of sleep is, at its core, a remarkable rehearsal of the mind. While theories regarding emotional triggers and memory consolidation offer powerful explanations for why we dream, a critical piece of the puzzle resides in a relatively small but extraordinarily active structure deep within our brains, the hippocampus. This seahorse-shaped region, initially thought to be primarily involved in navigation, has revealed itself to be far more than a map maker. It is, in fact, a central orchestrator of dream formation, constantly sampling, reshaping, and replaying the experiences that have shaped us. The hippocampus's role isn't simply about storing memories in a straightforward fashion. It operates with a fascinating process called replay. During wakefulness, when we're learning something new, a complicated math problem, a new language phrase, or even the route to the grocery store, the hippocampus actively re-experiences snippets of that experience repeatedly, often in a subtle, unconscious manner. These aren't perfect copies. They're more like reconnoitering runs, where the hippocampus assesses the new information, strengthens the neural connections associated with it, and integrates it into our existing knowledge network. It's like a tiny, internal team constantly reviewing the details of a mission. What's particularly relevant to dreams is that this replay process is dramatically amplified during sleep, particularly during the rapid eye movement (REM) stage, the stage most closely associated with vivid dreaming. REM sleep is characterized by a flurry of brain activity, resembling that of a fully awake state, yet the hippocampus is working overtime. It's not just replaying isolated events. It's weaving together memories from different times and places, sometimes in bizarre and unexpected ways. This explains why dreams can feel so disjointed and illogical. The hippocampus isn't concerned with maintaining a linear, chronological narrative. Instead, it's exploring the potential connections between seemingly unrelated experiences. Scientists have used sophisticated techniques like electroencephalography, EEG, and functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, to observe this process in real time. They found that during REM sleep, the hippocampus exhibits a pattern of activity theta waves that closely mirrors the activity seen during periods of learning. Furthermore, the hippocampus sends signals to other areas of the cortex, the outer layer of the brain responsible for conscious thought and perception. These signals aren't meant to create conscious awareness of the dream itself, but they trigger the activation of sensory cortices, essentially playing back the sights, sounds, and sensations associated with the replayed memories. Consider the experience of learning to ride a bicycle. The hippocampus might replay not just the physical act of balancing, but also the initial wobble, the feeling of fear, the encouragement from a friend, and even the memory of the bike's color. These disparate elements, The physical sensation, the emotional response, the visual details are all reactivated within the cortex, contributing to the overall dream imagery. The hippocampus isn't fabricating the dream. It's utilizing the raw materials of your memory, constructing a subjective experience from them. Interestingly, the specific memories that appear in our dreams aren't always those we consciously focus on during the day. Research suggests that the hippocampus is particularly sensitive to weak or fragile memories, those that haven't been fully consolidated into long-term storage. These weaker memories, often fleeting impressions or emotional residues, are particularly likely to surface in dreams. It's as if the hippocampus is attempting to strengthen these vulnerable connections, giving them a chance to solidify. The hippocampus also appears to play a role in false memories. Because it's constantly replaying and reconstructing memories, it's susceptible to incorporating inaccurate information or embellishments. A dream image might be influenced by something we've seen in a movie, a conversation we overheard, or even a suggestion we've absorbed subconsciously. The hippocampus, in its attempt to create a rich and engaging dream experience, can inadvertently blend these external influences with our own memories, leading to distortions and false recollections. Furthermore, the hippocampus isn't just passively recording memories, it's actively shaping them. As it re-experiences memories, it subtly alters the synaptic connections between neurons, refining the way those memories are represented. This process of memory modulation can explain why our dreams seem to evolve and change over time as we continue to learn and experience new things. The relationship between the hippocampus and dreams is a complex and ongoing area of research. While we've made significant progress in understanding the hippocampus's role in dream formation, many questions remain. How does the brain prioritize which memories to replay? What are the specific neural mechanisms that govern memory modulation? And how can we harness the power of dreams and the hippocampus to improve learning and memory? These are the exciting puzzles that scientists are continuing to unravel, revealing even more about the astonishing capabilities of the human mind during the quiet hours of sleep. The science of dreams has always been a fascinating puzzle, and while we've begun to unravel some of the threads, a particularly compelling piece of the mystery centers around a network within the brain itself, the default mode network, or DMN. For a long time, researchers suspected a deep connection between this network's activity and the peculiar nature of our nocturnal experiences. The DMN isn't something we're consciously aware of when we're focused on a task. Instead, it's most active when we're not actively engaged in external stimulation. It's like a quiet space within the brain, primarily involved in processes like introspection, self-referential thought, recalling autobiographical memories, and even simulating future scenarios. Scientists began to hypothesize that this resting state might be particularly prominent during sleep, and that this prominence was intimately linked to the vivid imagery, complex narratives, and deeply personal content we find in dreams. Early studies utilized electroencephalography, or EEG, a technique that measures electrical activity in the brain using electrodes placed on the scalp. Researchers recorded brain activity in participants as they slept, looking for patterns of increased activity within the DMN. They discovered that during non-REM sleep, the phase of sleep most strongly associated with vivid dreaming, the DMN showed a significant boost in activity. It wasn't just present, it was demonstrably more active than during waking hours. Furthermore, the specific areas within the DMN that were most stimulated corresponded strikingly with the themes and emotional content observed in the dream reports themselves. Specifically, the posterior cingulate cortex, or PCC, a central hub of the DMN, consistently exhibited heightened activity when participants reported dreaming about personal memories, particularly those related to their own lives and relationships. The angular gyrus, another key region, was found to be particularly active during dreams involving mental simulations. Essentially, the brain was actively constructing stories and scenarios, often with the dreamer as the protagonist. The medial prefrontal cortex, traditionally associated with self-awareness and executive functions, also displayed increased activity, suggesting that dream content is shaped by a deep examination of one's self-concept and identity. What's particularly intriguing is the degree of network connectivity during dreaming. The DMN doesn't operate in isolation. It communicates and integrates information with other brain regions, including those involved in sensory processing, motor control, and emotion regulation. During sleep, these connections seem to become even more fluid and dynamic. Research using fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, offered a more detailed picture. fMRI allows scientists to pinpoint which areas of the brain are actively working by measuring changes in blood flow. Studies using fMRI revealed that the DMN wasn't simply broadcasting signals. It was actively engaging in reciprocal communication with areas like the visual cortex, leading to the creation of dream imagery. The theory gaining traction is that the DMN essentially acts as a dream editor or narrative generator. It's not just passively reflecting waking experiences. It's actively shaping and constructing the dream narrative, drawing upon memories, emotions, and intentions. It's almost as if the brain is running a simulation, testing out scenarios, confronting fears, or exploring possibilities, all within the safe confines of the dreaming state. The PCC, for instance, might be picking up on fragmented memories, a fleeting image, a particular feeling, and then using this material to construct a storyline. Furthermore, the DMN's activity seems to be intricately linked to the emotional intensity of dreams. When participants reported dreaming about particularly stressful or emotionally charged events, the activity within the DMN, particularly the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, increased dramatically. This suggests that the DMN isn't just creating abstract dream narratives. It's actively grappling with deeply held anxieties and unresolved emotional conflicts. Researchers are also exploring the potential role of the DMN in consolidating memory. It's hypothesized that as the DMN replays dreamlike sequences, it's not just reinforcing the dream itself, but also strengthening the connections between the dream elements and related memories stored elsewhere in the brain. This could explain why dreams often revisit past experiences and why certain images or emotions can become so deeply ingrained in our memory through the dream process. It's important to note that the exact function of the DMN during dreaming is still being investigated. However, the evidence increasingly points towards it being a crucial orchestrator of the dream experience, a network that's not just passively recording our waking thoughts, but actively shaping and constructing the bizarre, profound, and deeply personal landscapes of our dreams. Future research aims to unravel the precise algorithms by which this network transforms subjective experience into the unique and captivating world of sleep. The human brain, even during the seemingly passive state of sleep, continues to orchestrate a remarkable series of processes. While we often understand dreams as fragmented narratives, emotional landscapes, or bizarre scenarios, a particularly fascinating aspect of dreaming is emerging: the ability to recognize that we are dreaming and, in some cases, to exert a degree of control over the dream itself. This is the realm of lucid dreaming, a state where the dreamer becomes aware they are within a dream and can deliberately manipulate aspects of the dream experience. It's a far cry from the passive acceptance of a dream narrative, representing a conscious interaction with the very fabric of one's subconscious. Lucid dreaming typically begins with a subtle shift, a feeling of incongruity, a moment of questioning the reality of the scene. It might manifest as noticing a detail that seems impossibly improbable, a sudden awareness of the mechanics of breathing within the dream, or a feeling of detachment from the environment. This initial awareness can rapidly escalate, leading to a conscious realization: I'm dreaming. This recognition triggers a cascade of neurological activity, characterized by an increased activation of the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for higher-level cognitive functions like planning, decision-making, and self-awareness. Within the dream itself, this activation manifests as a sense of agency. The dreamer might deliberately try to fly, change the scenery, interact with dream characters, or even perform complex tasks. The level of control can vary significantly, ranging from subtle manipulations to complete command over the dream environment. Researchers have identified several techniques that individuals can employ to increase their chances of inducing lucid dreams. Reality testing, for example, involves repeatedly asking oneself during waking hours, "Am I dreaming?" and then performing a simple test to check the answer. These tests, such as attempting to push a finger through one's palm or looking at a clock twice, expecting the time to be different upon revisiting, are designed to break the acceptance of the waking reality and cultivate a habitual awareness of questioning one's surroundings. Another method involves keeping a dream journal, meticulously recording every detail of each dream. This practice not only enhances dream recall, but also encourages the dreamer to become more observant and analytical of their dream experiences, ultimately increasing their likelihood of recognizing they are dreaming. The neurological basis of lucid dreaming is still being actively investigated, but accumulating evidence points to a complex interplay between several brain regions. As previously mentioned, The prefrontal cortex plays a crucial role, but its involvement extends beyond simply recognizing the dream state. The increased activity isn't just about awareness, it's about actively shaping the dream. Neuroimaging studies, primarily utilizing fMRI, have demonstrated that during lucid dreams, there's a distinct pattern of activation. Specifically, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, a portion of the prefrontal cortex, shows heightened activity, correlating with the deliberate attempts to control the dream. Simultaneously, there's a modulation of activity within the default mode network, albeit a more nuanced one than observed during regular dreaming. Rather than a complete suppression, the DMN activity appears to become integrated into the dream narrative, allowing the dreamer to incorporate their waking thoughts and intentions into the dream experience. Furthermore, the temporoparietal junction, TPJ, a region involved in integrating sensory information and distinguishing between self and other, exhibits significant activation. This suggests that lucid dreaming may involve a heightened awareness of the boundaries between self and the dream world, facilitating the ability to manipulate the dream environment as if it were another entity. Research also indicates the involvement of the cerebellum, traditionally associated with motor control, in the conscious control of dream movements, such as flying or swimming, providing a direct neurological link to the actions the dreamer is attempting within the dream. Importantly, lucid dreaming isn't solely a conscious experience. There's a strong argument that the dream itself, the visual imagery, the emotions, the sensory experiences, still originates from unconscious processes. However, lucid dreaming represents a point where these unconscious processes become subject to conscious direction. It's a feedback loop. The conscious intention to manipulate the dream influences the dream, which in turn further strengthens the conscious awareness and control. The precise mechanisms of this interaction are still poorly understood, but scientists believe that the brain is essentially learning to consciously interact with its own dream-generating systems. The study of lucid dreaming is shedding light on fundamental questions about consciousness, self-awareness, and the relationship between the mind and the brain. It's also being explored for potential therapeutic applications, including treating nightmares, reducing anxiety, and even enhancing creativity. The ability to consciously shape a dream environment offers a unique opportunity to confront fears, practice skills, and explore the limitless potential of the human mind. As technology advances and our understanding of the brain deepens, we can anticipate even greater insights into this fascinating and increasingly accessible state of dreaming. Future research will undoubtedly uncover further intricate details regarding the neural networks involved, and perhaps even reveal how lucid dreaming could be harnessed to unlock new dimensions of human experience. The enduring mystery of dreams has always held a particular fascination, fueled by the unsettling and sometimes strikingly accurate nature of what people describe as prophetic dreams. Throughout history, accounts of individuals foreseeing events, future wars, natural disasters, or even personal tragedies have surfaced, leading to persistent questions about whether our minds possess a hidden ability to glimpse beyond the confines of linear time. These narratives, often dismissed as coincidence or the result of subconscious anxieties, have nevertheless prompted serious investigation, attempting to discern whether a genuine predictive element exists within the dream state. Early historical records are replete with instances of what we might now consider precognitive dreams. The accounts of the Oracle of Delphi, for example, weren't solely based on divine revelation, but frequently involved dream visions that predicted political events and military campaigns. Similarly, the Russian mystic Dmitry Vachin during World War I purportedly predicted the sinking of the Lusitania and the events leading up to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, details of which were recorded by a sympathetic observer. These stories, while lacking the rigorous scientific scrutiny of modern research, demonstrate a consistent pattern: individuals reporting dreams that, after the fact, seem to correspond to unfolding realities. However, the challenge with these historical accounts lies in the difficulty of verifying their accuracy before the events occurred. Confirmation bias, the tendency to interpret information in a way that confirms pre-existing beliefs, is a significant factor. If someone anticipates a particular outcome, they may unconsciously interpret ambiguous dream imagery to align with that expectation. Furthermore, the passage of time introduces the possibility of embellishment and misinterpretation. The reality of the dream might be altered over years, making it difficult to assess its initial accuracy. Contemporary neuroscience is beginning to explore the possibility of precognitive dreaming through a combination of psychological experiments and advanced neuroimaging techniques. One key area of focus is examining the role of pattern recognition, the brain's remarkable ability to identify recurring motifs and connections, even when they aren't consciously perceived. The brain doesn't simply record events. It actively constructs representations of the world based on past experiences, relationships between events, and probabilistic assessments. Researchers have conducted studies where participants are shown a sequence of images, a series of abstract patterns, for example, and then asked to dream about them. Remarkably, participants often report dreaming about the same patterns, and sometimes in a remarkably detailed manner. This suggests that the dream state allows for a deeper engagement with the underlying structural relationships within the visual data, revealing a level of familiarity beyond what was initially apparent during conscious observation. It's akin to recognizing a melody after hearing only a fragment. The brain is unconsciously piecing together the full picture. The default mode network, DMN, a network heavily implicated in self-referential thought and future projection, also plays a potential role. While traditionally associated with ruminating on personal narratives, it's increasingly recognized for its capacity to simulate possible futures, essentially, to engage in a kind of mental rehearsal. Studies using fMRI have shown that the DMN exhibits increased activity during periods of sleep, particularly when participants are presented with ambiguous stimuli. This heightened activity could facilitate the exploration of different what-if scenarios, generating dream imagery that reflects potential outcomes. even those that haven't yet occurred in the external world. Interestingly, research is exploring the concept of intuitive processing within the dream state. Intuition isn't necessarily about supernatural insight. It's often the result of the brain rapidly integrating vast amounts of information, including subconscious memories, emotional associations, and subtle environmental cues, to arrive at a gut feeling. During sleep, the reduced constraints of conscious thought allow this intuitive processing to operate with greater freedom, potentially leading to dream narratives that feel strangely insightful. For instance, a person might dream about a specific street layout they've never seen before, yet find themselves navigating it with a sense of familiarity, fueled by subconscious associations gleaned from other experiences. Furthermore, recent investigations are looking at the role of binding, the neurological process that integrates different sensory inputs into a coherent experience. It's hypothesized that during sleep, the binding process becomes less rigid, allowing for a more fluid and associative connection between seemingly unrelated dream elements. This could explain the occurrence of bizarre and surreal dream narratives, but also, perhaps, the occasional flashes of seemingly meaningful detail that later prove to be relevant. It's crucial to acknowledge that the evidence for precognitive dreaming remains largely circumstantial. Many reported predictions can be attributed to chance, subtle cues that we're unaware of, or the brain's natural tendency to find patterns, even where none exist. However, the increasing sophistication of neuroimaging techniques and the growing understanding of the brain's complex processes are providing a more nuanced framework for considering the possibility that the dream state might offer a glimpse beyond the boundaries of linear time, a testament to the enduring mystery and potential of the human mind. The exploration continues, driven by the persistent allure of dreams and the tantalizing question of whether our sleeping minds hold a secret key to understanding the very fabric of reality. The human dreamscape is a remarkably persistent theater, and within that theater, certain performances recur again and again. These aren't simply random neurological glitches. The persistence of recurring dreams, dreams that return with remarkably similar scenarios, characters, and symbols, suggests a deep, underlying psychological significance. While the precise mechanisms remain a complex puzzle, researchers are increasingly recognizing that these repeated dream sequences often reflect unresolved emotional conflicts, deeply held anxieties, and persistent questions confronting the dreamer. It's akin to a mental rehearsal, a continuous attempt to grapple with difficult experiences or unresolved issues, even if the dream logic itself appears bizarre or distorted. One of the most common interpretations centers around the concept of working memory and its connection to dreams. Our waking lives are constantly bombarded with information. We filter this information, prioritizing what we deem important and storing it in our working memory, the mental workspace we use to hold and manipulate information for immediate use. However, this working memory isn't perfectly efficient. Fragments of memories, emotions, and concerns often linger, unprocessed. Dreams, particularly recurring dreams, can be seen as a way for the brain to continue processing this overflowing working memory, attempting to find a resolution or integrate these lingering elements. The dream's symbolic representation, the recurring setting, the specific individuals involved, serves as a container for this ongoing mental processing. Consider the dream of being chased. This isn't a random fear. It often symbolizes a feeling of being pursued by something, a deadline, a responsibility, a difficult emotion, or even a deeply repressed fear. The relentless pursuit in the dream represents the dreamer's subconscious attempt to avoid confronting the source of that anxiety. The nature of the pursuer, the environment in which the chase takes place, and the dreamer's actions during the chase all offer clues to the underlying issue. If the chase occurs repeatedly through a familiar urban landscape, it might be linked to anxieties about navigating challenging situations in waking life. If the pursuer is a shadowy, indistinct figure, it could represent an unidentified fear or unresolved guilt. Beyond simple anxiety, recurring dreams frequently relate to interpersonal conflicts, particularly those that remain unresolved in the dreamer's conscious life. These dreams aren't necessarily about the actual individuals involved, but rather about the dynamic of the relationship, the power imbalances, the unspoken resentments, the unresolved needs. A dream of constantly arguing with a family member, for instance, might not be about that specific person's behavior, but about a broader pattern of communication difficulties or a feeling of being unheard and undervalued. The dream provides a safe, symbolic space to revisit the emotional complexities of the relationship and attempt to find a more constructive way to interact with that person, or perhaps to recognize a similar dynamic playing out in other relationships. The dream's symbolism, the setting, the arguments themselves, shift subtly with each recurrence, mirroring the changing landscape of the dreamer's attempts to resolve the core issue. Another intriguing area of exploration concerns the role of symbolic representation. Dreams rarely present information in a literal fashion. Instead, they utilize symbols, objects, people, and situations to represent deeper emotional and psychological realities. A recurring dream of being naked in public, for example, doesn't necessarily signify a literal fear of exposure. It's more likely a representation of vulnerability, insecurity, or a feeling of being judged or scrutinized. The specific context of the nakedness, whether it's in a formal setting or a casual one, can further refine the interpretation. The act of being observed can indicate a fear of criticism or a lack of self-assurance, while a comfortable, familiar setting might suggest a greater acceptance of vulnerability. Furthermore, the intensity and emotional charge of a recurring dream can be highly significant. If a dream consistently evokes a strong feeling of fear, sadness, or anger, it's likely highlighting a deeply rooted emotional issue that the dreamer is avoiding or suppressing. The dream's persistence isn't just a matter of neurological repetition. It's a signal from the subconscious that something needs to be addressed. Researchers are exploring the connections between dream intensity and the activation of the amygdala, the brain region responsible for processing fear and emotional responses. Strong emotional dreams may indicate a heightened state of stress or anxiety in the dreamer's waking life. Interestingly, some researchers believe that recurring dreams can be a form of mental rehearsal, a subconscious attempt to prepare for future challenges or navigate difficult situations. The dreamer may be unconsciously simulating different scenarios, practicing coping mechanisms, or exploring potential outcomes. The dream's symbolic content can then be viewed as a training ground, allowing the individual to develop strategies for dealing with similar situations in the real world. The patterns observed in the recurring dream might, over time, translate into more effective behaviors and attitudes in waking life. It's crucial to note that interpreting recurring dreams is a highly individual process. There's no single dream dictionary that can definitively decode the meaning of a particular symbol or scenario. Instead, the meaning of a recurring dream is shaped by the dreamer's personal history, current emotional state, and unique associations. Working with a therapist can be invaluable in exploring the potential significance of these dreams and integrating their insights into the dreamer's overall understanding of themselves. Analyzing the changes and variations in the dream over time, the subtle shifts in the setting, the individuals involved, and the emotional tone provides crucial data for unlocking its deeper meaning. Ultimately, recurring dreams offer a window into the complex landscape of the subconscious, a persistent conversation between the conscious and unconscious mind. The human brain, a universe of intricately connected networks, continues to hold secrets about our most private experiences, our dreams. While we've explored the intriguing possibility of precognitive flashes and the emotional landscapes shaped by recurring motifs, a compelling new line of neurological investigation is offering a radically different perspective on the very fabric of dream narratives: the mirror neuron system. This system, initially identified in macaque monkeys, describes a fascinating network of neurons that fire not just when we perform an action, but also when we observe someone else performing that same action. It's as if our brains are directly simulating the experiences of others, a fundamental mechanism underpinning empathy and social understanding. But what if this remarkable ability isn't just a tool for navigating the social world, but also plays a crucial role in constructing the incredibly diverse and often bizarre stories we weave while asleep? The traditional view of dreaming has often focused on internal, emotional processes, a sort of internal theater where unresolved conflicts and suppressed desires play out. However, the mirror neuron system proposes that dreams aren't solely generated from within. They are fundamentally shaped by our ongoing interactions with the external world, particularly those involving social dynamics. Research using fMRI has shown that when people watch videos of others engaging in actions, the same regions of the brain, primarily the inferior frontal gyrus and the superior temporal sulcus, light up as if the viewer themselves were performing those actions. These areas are known to be densely populated with mirror neurons. This suggests that our brains are constantly constructing models of the world and the people within it. And these models are not just passive representations, but are actively engaged in generating internal simulations. Now consider the typical dream landscape. Dreams frequently involve social interactions, often complex and emotionally charged ones. We dream of conversations, collaborations, confrontations, and relationships, scenarios that are, in essence, simulations of our waking social lives. The mirror neuron system offers a plausible explanation for why these simulations occur and why they take the form they do. If our brains are constantly generating these internal simulations, it's reasonable to assume that dreams are, in part, projections of those simulations, often amplified and distorted by the unique emotional context of the dream. It's particularly interesting to consider the nature of the actors in these dream narratives. Studies have indicated that the brain responds to faces, even unfamiliar ones, with a similar level of activation as when we see faces of loved ones. This implies that we're not just recalling memories of specific individuals, but rather activating a general template for human interaction. During dreams, this template might be populated with figures from our social circle, or even entirely fabricated characters, all contributing to the unfolding narrative. The intensity of the interaction, the perceived success or failure, the emotional valence, all of these elements would be filtered through the lens of our existing social understanding, shaped by our experiences of empathy and imitation. Furthermore, the mirror neuron system might explain why dream narratives often feature recurring themes of social transgression or reward. Our brains are exquisitely sensitive to the consequences of our actions, particularly when those actions violate social norms or produce positive social outcomes. Dreams, being unconstrained by the rules of waking reality, provide a safe space to explore these dynamics. We might repeatedly find ourselves in scenarios where we're breaking rules, receiving praise, or facing judgment, all simulated through the mirror neuron system's ability to replicate the feelings associated with these experiences. These repeated scenarios aren't necessarily symbolic representations of hidden anxieties, but rather the neurological consequence of continually refining our understanding of social appropriateness and desirability. The degree of control we experience within dreams also aligns with this theory. While lucid dreaming, where conscious awareness and control are achieved, highlights the potential for deliberate manipulation of the dream landscape, the underlying mechanism likely remains rooted in the mirror neuron system. Even within a lucid dream, the brain is still processing and simulating interactions, drawing upon the vast library of social simulations it has constructed throughout the day. The ability to change. A dream doesn't negate the mirror neuron system's influence. Instead, it reflects the brain's capacity to actively modify and reshape these ongoing simulations. It's important to note that research into the mirror neuron system and dreams is still relatively young. However, the accumulating evidence strongly suggests that our dreams aren't simply random neural firings, but are deeply intertwined with our social intelligence. The next time you awaken from a particularly vivid dream, consider the possibility that your subconscious mind was not just processing your emotions, but also meticulously recreating a social drama, a collaboration, or a confrontation, all shaped by the profound and enduring influence of the mirror neuron system. The dreamscape, then, becomes a constantly evolving laboratory for our social understanding, a place where we can explore the complexities of human interaction without the constraints of real-world consequences, and where the echoes of our shared humanity reverberate throughout the night. The nighttime landscape of our dreams is famously bizarre, isn't it? A sudden shift from a mundane grocery store to a flight through swirling nebulae, a conversation with a long-dead relative, the overwhelming sensation of being chased by a giant, fluffy rabbit. These experiences defy logical explanation, yet they're utterly commonplace. While we've explored the potential roles of memory, emotion, and even neurological mirroring in shaping these nocturnal narratives, a fascinating and increasingly compelling avenue of investigation centers around a neurological phenomenon, synesthesia. Specifically, researchers are now examining the intricate ways in which the unusually vivid sensory experiences reported in dreams may share a foundational link with the way synesthetes perceive the world. Synesthesia, for those unfamiliar, isn't simply a heightened sense of awareness. It's a neurological condition where stimulation of one sense involuntarily triggers experiences in another. A classic example is grapheme-color synesthesia, where the sight of letters or numbers automatically evokes specific colors. Someone with this synesthesia might consistently see the number 7 as a vibrant shade of red, or the letter A as blue. It's not a learned association. It's a spontaneous, automatic connection wired directly into the brain. Studies using fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, have identified specific areas within the brain, predominantly the posterior parietal cortex and the anterior temporal lobe, that are consistently active in synesthetes during the experience of their unique sensory blending. The question then arises, could the extraordinarily rich and often illogical sensory tapestry of dreams be similarly rooted in a fundamental, perhaps less refined form of cross-sensory processing? Recent research suggests it's a serious possibility. The brains of individuals experiencing dreams are exhibiting a remarkable level of activity across multiple sensory cortices simultaneously, often in ways that seem entirely disconnected from waking reality. This isn't just random neural firing, it's coordinated, complex activity. Scientists are proposing that the default mode network, a set of brain regions active when we're not focused on external tasks, may be playing a particularly significant role in dream construction, and that this network is interacting with areas typically associated with synesthetic processing. One particularly intriguing line of inquiry involves the concept of inverted synesthesia, where the sensory experience seems to invert. For example, a sound might evoke a color, or a shape might trigger a specific emotion. While less common than standard synesthesia, it's increasingly recognized that variations exist, and dream reports frequently feature this kind of inversion. Researchers are finding that patterns of activity in the auditory cortex, visual cortex, and even the somatosensory cortex, the area that processes touch and temperature, are frequently linked during dream reports, suggesting a loosening of the typical boundaries between sensory representations. The sheer volume of information processed during sleep is astounding. During REM sleep, the brain's activity levels surge, approaching that of waking consciousness. Simultaneously, the connections between different brain regions appear to weaken, allowing for a greater degree of neural plasticity and the possibility of unusual sensory combinations. It's hypothesized that the reduction in top-down control, the conscious filtering and interpretation of sensory input during sleep further facilitates this cross-sensory blending. Furthermore, the brain's propensity to construct narratives, often driven by emotional content, may actively seek to integrate diverse sensory experiences into a coherent, though often fantastical, story. What's particularly noteworthy is that some researchers are examining the potential role of the multisensory integration system within the brain. This system, responsible for seamlessly combining information from different senses, is already well documented in waking life. For instance, tasting chocolate not only stimulates the taste buds, but also activates areas of the brain associated with smell and even visual imagery. The rich, dark color of the chocolate itself. During dreams, this process appears to be amplified, potentially leading to the sensation of tasting colors, seeing sounds, or feeling emotions in a profoundly sensory way. It's important to remember that dreams aren't solely about feeling emotions. They're a complex amalgamation of neurological processes, including memory consolidation, problem solving, and emotional regulation. However, the increasing evidence linking dream experiences to the neurological underpinnings of synesthesia suggests that the brain's inherent ability to connect and integrate diverse sensory information may be a fundamental driver of the dream world's extraordinary and frequently perplexing qualities. The study of dream imagery, therefore, isn't just about understanding the narratives we create in our sleep. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of the remarkable plasticity and interconnectedness of the human brain itself. Future research, incorporating advanced neuroimaging techniques and detailed dream reports, promises to unveil even more of the secrets hidden within the vibrant, ever-shifting landscapes of our nocturnal minds. Across the vast tapestry of human experience, dreams have always held a peculiar and profoundly important place. While the underlying neurological processes, the brain's activity during rapid eye movement sleep, are remarkably similar across individuals, the interpretation of those nocturnal narratives diverges dramatically depending on cultural context and deeply held belief systems. The science behind dreams may be universal, but the stories we tell about them, and what we believe those stories mean, are extraordinarily diverse. To truly understand why we dream, we must journey beyond the Western, largely psychoanalytic, traditions and explore the rich variety of dream interpretation practices found around the globe. In many indigenous cultures of North America, for example, dreams are not simply personal experiences to be deciphered alone. They are viewed as a direct channel to the spirit world, a place of constant interaction with ancestors, animal guides, and powerful deities. The Navajo, for instance, believe that during sleep, the Nahatlan, or spirit world, literally flows into the body. Dreams are considered sacred messages, and individuals often consult with medicine people, those trained in interpreting these messages, to understand their significance. The symbols within a dream are not abstract. They are potent representations of immediate challenges, potential dangers, or guidance for daily life. A dream of a snake, for example, might signify a need for caution or a warning about deception, while a dream of a soaring eagle could represent strength, vision, and connection to the divine. These interpretations are highly contextual, tying directly into the tribe's relationship with its environment and its traditional values. Moving eastward, we find strikingly different approaches in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians held a particularly complex and layered understanding of dreams. They believed dreams were primarily messages from Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and magic, who recorded events in the underworld and could deliver them to the dreamer. Dreams were intensely regulated. One couldn't simply dismiss a dream as meaningless. Instead, they would often intentionally induce dreams through specific rituals, chants, and offerings to Thoth, seeking knowledge, healing, or prophecies. Dream interpretation was a specialized art, practiced by scribes and priests who meticulously documented and analyzed dream narratives, seeking patterns and correlations with current events or the deceased's journey into the afterlife. The Book of Dreams, a collection of dream narratives and interpretations dating back to the Old Kingdom, offers a fascinating window into this deeply ingrained belief system. Across the Mediterranean, in ancient Greece, dream interpretation held a prominent place in religious and medical practice. The Greeks believed that dreams were often sent by the gods themselves, offering guidance, warnings, or glimpses into the future. The Oracle of Delphi, famously, relied heavily on dream interpretation to deliver its prophecies. However, it wasn't simply about divine messages. Dream interpretation was intertwined with medicine. Physicians like Hippocrates would examine a patient's dreams to diagnose illnesses, believing that the physical and mental symptoms manifested themselves in the dream world. The Waniral dreams were treated with a mixture of reverence and caution, as disturbing or ominous dreams might be considered a sign of demonic influence and required specific rituals for purification. In contrast to the often formalized systems of the Greeks and Egyptians, dream interpretation in some African cultures, particularly within Yoruba cosmology, is often far more fluid and participatory. Dreams are viewed as a collaborative conversation between the dreamer and the spirits, rather than a one-way transmission of information. Dreamers actively engage with the dream world, asking questions, seeking answers, and attempting to influence the outcome. The dream landscape is populated by Orisha's deities, who can be petitioned and negotiated with. A significant emphasis is placed on the actions taken upon waking. Based on the dream's guidance, failure to heed a dream's warning was believed to invite misfortune. These interpretations aren't recorded in formalized texts, but are passed down through oral traditions, shaped by personal experiences and community knowledge. Shifting our focus to Asia, the Japanese tradition of yomi, or dream interpretation, is deeply rooted in Buddhist and Shinto beliefs. Dreams are seen as a reflection of the soul's journey and connection to the spiritual realm, while specific dream symbols carry particular meanings. A flowing river often symbolizes purification. For example, the emphasis is on understanding the underlying feeling of the dream. Dream interpretation is often a collaborative process between the dreamer and a trained practitioner who assists in translating the dream's symbolic language. The goal isn't necessarily to predict the future, but to gain insight into one's present state of mind and to foster harmony between the individual and the spiritual world. The cultures of South America present another fascinating picture. The Quechua people of the Andes have a rich tradition of pachayaku, or dream reading, which involves a complex interplay of ritual, divination, and communal knowledge. Dreams are seen as a way to communicate with the ancestors and to receive guidance on important decisions. Skilled dream readers, known as yachaks, would interpret dreams, often using coca leaves and other traditional medicines to enhance their abilities. These interpretations weren't just about understanding individual dreams, but about maintaining balance within the community and ensuring the well-being of the entire group. The concepts of collective dreams and shared consciousness play a crucial role in this understanding. Ultimately, the diversity of dream interpretation practices underscores a fundamental truth. Dreams are not just random neural firings. They are powerfully shaped by culture, belief, and the human need to find meaning in the world around us. While the underlying neurological mechanisms remain consistent, the stories we tell about our dreams and the values that shape those stories are testament to the extraordinary adaptability and profound creativity of the human mind. The human brain is a remarkably complex machine, constantly juggling information and orchestrating experiences. When we're awake, our emotional lives are fundamentally tied to a tightly regulated network centered around the prefrontal cortex. This area, responsible for rational thought and executive function, exerts a powerful influence, dampening strong emotional responses and allowing us to analyze and manage our feelings. We consciously label them. I'm feeling sad. I'm experiencing anxiety, and employ strategies to cope. But what happens when we slip into the realm of sleep and dreaming? The neuroscience of emotional processing during dreams reveals a profoundly different landscape, one where the usual constraints are loosened and the raw, unfiltered power of emotion takes center stage. During wakefulness, the amygdala, often referred to as the brain's fear center, plays a crucial role in detecting potential threats and triggering a rapid, often instinctive emotional response. This response is then carefully modulated by the prefrontal cortex. However, when we enter rapid eye movement REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreaming, the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex significantly weakens. It's not that the amygdala simply shuts off. Rather, it becomes hyperactive, firing intensely even in the absence of external danger. This heightened state of arousal fuels the intense emotional experiences that characterize many dreams. Scientists believe this reduced top-down control contributes to the bizarre and unpredictable nature of dream narratives. Furthermore, the neurotransmitters involved in emotional processing also exhibit significant shifts during dreaming. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter known to regulate mood and promote feelings of calm, is dramatically reduced in the brain during REM sleep. Simultaneously, there's a surge in norepinephrine, a stress hormone also involved in attention and vigilance. This combination, lower serotonin and higher norepinephrine, creates a state of heightened arousal and increased sensitivity to emotional stimuli. It's like turning up the volume on the emotional signals flooding the brain. The specific type of emotion experienced in a dream is interestingly linked to the pattern of brain activity. Research using electroencephalography, EEG, a technique that measures electrical activity in the brain, has shown distinct brainwave patterns associated with different emotional states within dreams. For instance, theta waves prominent during REM sleep are often linked to intense, often unsettling emotional experiences like fear, anxiety, or trauma. Conversely, alpha waves, typically associated with relaxation and drowsiness, are more frequently observed during dreams that feel calm and serene. It's important to understand that dreams don't simply represent recollections of past emotional events. While previous emotional experiences undoubtedly contribute to the context within which dreams unfold, the actual emotional experience within a dream is largely generated internally. The brain isn't recreating a past event. It's constructing a novel emotional state from scratch, utilizing the heightened arousal and altered neurotransmitter levels described above. This explains why we can experience feelings of profound joy, terror, or nostalgia in dreams, even when the dream content itself seems illogical or disconnected from our waking lives. The way the brain processes sensory information during dreaming is also crucial to this shift in emotional experience. While we process external sensory input differently when awake, the brain during REM sleep seems to utilize sensory information in a more diffuse and associative manner. This means that a seemingly innocuous stimulus, a particular color, a sound, a fleeting image, can trigger a cascade of emotional responses, connecting to a vast network of memories and associations. This is partly why dreams are often filled with strange and surreal imagery, blending together elements from different times and places. Research suggests that the hippocampus, a brain region vital for memory consolidation, plays a significant role in this process. It's hypothesized that the hippocampus isn't just storing memories. It's actively replaying and recombining them during REM sleep, creating the unusual connections that fuel dream narratives. The increased activity in the amygdala further amplifies these connections, contributing to the intensity and emotional impact of the dream experience. Moreover, the brain's default mode network, a network of regions that's most active when we're not focused on external tasks and instead are engaging in self-referential thought, also appears to be highly active during REM sleep. This heightened activity could explain why dreams often involve themes of self-discovery, identity, and unresolved conflicts. It's as if the brain is grappling with fundamental questions about who we are, without the constraints of rational thought or social expectations. Finally, it's worth noting that the intensity and nature of emotional experiences in dreams can be profoundly affected by individual differences in brain structure and function. Some individuals may be naturally more prone to experiencing intense fear or anxiety in dreams, while others may be more susceptible to feelings of joy or wonder. These variations could be linked to differences in the size and activity of the amygdala, as well as the efficiency of the brain's emotional regulation circuits. Exploring these individual variations offers valuable insight into the complex and often mysterious world of dreaming. The perplexing nature of dreams takes another intriguing turn when we consider how accurately, or inaccurately, we remember them. While the vividness of a dream can feel intensely real in the moments immediately following awakening, the reliability of that recollection is a surprisingly complex puzzle, deeply intertwined with the very way our brains store and retrieve information. It's not simply a matter of remembering a perfectly preserved narrative. Instead, the dream experience exists within a landscape of shifting probabilities, influenced by a multitude of subtle factors. One of the earliest influences is the act of post-dream interpretation itself. When we consciously try to analyze a dream, to find meaning within its symbols and sequences, we inadvertently alter the dream's original form in our memory. This isn't necessarily a negative process, but it demonstrates that the brain isn't a passive recording device. Instead, it's actively constructing our memories, and the act of seeking understanding introduces a layer of subjective processing that reshapes the experience. Research using fMRI scans has shown that when people are asked to recall a dream and simultaneously provide a detailed interpretation, there's a noticeable increase in activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for higher-level cognitive functions like planning, decision-making, and, crucially, assigning meaning. This heightened activity doesn't just enhance recall, it seems to actively sculpt the memory, smoothing out inconsistencies and reinforcing the interpretation. It's akin to editing a photograph. You might enhance certain aspects, blur others, and ultimately create a version that aligns more closely with your desired narrative. Furthermore, the timing of recall plays a significant role. The first few minutes after waking are often the richest in dream content, a phenomenon known as the dream recollection period. This window is characterized by heightened neural activity related to emotion and sensory processing, making the dream experience feel particularly fresh and vivid. However, as time passes, the intensity and detail of the memory naturally diminish. This isn't simply a matter of the dream fading. The underlying neural traces are gradually weakened through a process called synaptic pruning, where the brain eliminates less frequently used connections. The rate of this decay is affected by a remarkable range of variables. One crucial factor is emotional salience. Dreams connected to strong emotions, intense fear, overwhelming joy, or profound sadness, tend to be remembered better than dreams that were neutral or unremarkable. This makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. Emotionally charged experiences are prioritized by the brain for long-term storage, ensuring that we can learn from significant events. Conversely, dreams that elicited little or no emotional response are far more vulnerable to being lost to the mists of time. Beyond emotional impact, the context surrounding the dream contributes significantly to its persistence. If you wake up and immediately engage in activities that are similar to those experienced in the dream, perhaps you're preparing a meal that featured prominently in your dream, or you're discussing a theme that resonated within it, the memory is more likely to be solidified. Conversely, a completely different routine can disrupt the established neural pathways, weakening the dream's hold on your memory. It's important to note that the way memories of dreams are distorted isn't always conscious. Often, we don't realize that the version we recount has shifted from the original experience. This is particularly true when memories are reconstructed over extended periods. Memories aren't like video recordings. They're always subject to modification. They're built upon existing knowledge, beliefs, and expectations. As we repeatedly tell ourselves the story of a dream, we begin to fill in gaps, smooth out inconsistencies, and integrate it into our broader autobiographical narrative. Research utilizing memory distortions techniques has revealed just how susceptible dream memories are. Individuals are sometimes asked to recall a dream while being subtly misled about certain details. Remarkably, these distortions often persist even after being informed of the inaccuracies. This suggests that the initial encoding of the dream and the subsequent reconstruction are deeply influenced by cognitive biases and pre-existing mental frameworks. The impact of sleep stage also plays a part. Dreams are most frequently recalled when people wake from REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreaming. However, even memories of dreams from non-REM sleep can be recalled, although they tend to be less detailed and emotionally intense. The specific neuronal networks active during different sleep stages influence the types of information that are prioritized for storage. Furthermore, the concept of source monitoring, the ability to accurately determine the origin of a memory, is crucial to understanding dream recall. Often, we struggle to differentiate between a dream and a waking experience. This is because the sensory input of a dream is often so rich and immersive that it can feel indistinguishable from reality. When recalling a dream, we may inadvertently attribute waking experiences to the dream realm, blurring the lines between the two. It's also worth considering the role of suggestion. External prompts, such as questions about a specific dream, can dramatically influence our recollections. Even a seemingly innocuous question can trigger the brain to actively search for and retrieve dream memories, further shaping the final narrative. Ultimately, the imperfect nature of dream recall highlights the dynamic and reconstructive processes that underlie memory itself. Our dreams aren't captured in a perfect, unchanging record. Instead, they're constantly being transformed and reshaped by the forces of our own minds. The study of dream recall is therefore not simply about remembering what we dreamed. It's about understanding the fundamental way our brains create and maintain our sense of self. The human brain, a universe of intricate connections, has long held a particular mystery: why we dream. For centuries, philosophers and scientists have pondered the purpose of these nocturnal narratives, often attributing them to wish fulfillment or the processing of unresolved anxieties. However, Recent advancements in neuroscience and technology have begun to explore a far more direct and potentially transformative approach: the deliberate construction of dreamlike experiences. We're moving beyond simply observing dreams to actively crafting them, utilizing sophisticated tools to tap into the very mechanisms that generate our nightly visions. One of the most fascinating areas of research centers around transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. This technique, initially developed for treating neurological disorders, leverages precisely targeted magnetic pulses to stimulate specific areas of the brain. Researchers are investigating whether controlled bursts of TMS can induce sensations and experiences remarkably similar to those reported during dreams. The principle is this: dreams are fundamentally about altered states of consciousness, characterized by fluctuations in brain activity. TMS, by modulating this activity, particularly in regions like the visual cortex or the parietal lobe, can trigger internal simulations, creating a sense of vivid imagery, unusual perceptions, and even the feeling of movement, mirroring the subjective experience of a dream. Studies have shown that carefully calibrated TMS can evoke complex sensory hallucinations, including the perception of phantom smells, tastes, and textures, all within the context of a fabricated scenario. It's not about creating a full-blown dream narrative, but rather about generating individual elements: a key, a familiar face, a specific landscape, that can then be woven into a more coherent internal story. The research isn't limited to simply stimulating areas known to be active during dreaming. Scientists are also exploring the potential of TMS to influence the brain's reward system, particularly the release of dopamine. Dopamine plays a crucial role in motivation, pleasure, and the feeling of anticipation, all sensations frequently experienced during dreams. By stimulating brain regions associated with reward, researchers hypothesize that they could induce feelings of excitement, curiosity, and even a sense of flow, the optimal state of engagement and immersion often described within dream narratives. Further investigations involve pairing TMS stimulation with specific auditory or visual cues. For instance, presenting a participant with a visual image while simultaneously applying TMS to areas involved in visual processing might trigger a hallucination of that image, even if it wasn't consciously perceived. These experiments are designed to dissect the precise neural pathways involved in generating dreamlike sensations. Beyond TMS, virtual reality (VR) technology is providing another incredibly powerful tool for simulating dreaming experiences. Unlike TMS, which directly manipulates brain activity, VR provides a rich, immersive environment that can trigger a cascade of internal sensations and interpretations. VR systems can create detailed, interactive worlds, and researchers are developing VR scenarios specifically designed to mimic the characteristics of dreams: illogical transitions, bizarre encounters, and a lack of control over the immediate environment. Participants wearing VR headsets are subjected to these carefully constructed worlds, and their brain activity is monitored using techniques like electroencephalography, EEG, and fMRI. The goal is to identify the neural correlates of dreamlike experiences within the VR context, and to understand how the brain responds to the ambiguities and inconsistencies often found in dreams. Researchers are building VR environments that intentionally disrupt the participant's sense of reality, a hallmark of many dreams. One study, for example, presented participants with a virtual space where the laws of physics appeared to be suspended, allowing them to jump, fly, or manipulate objects in ways that would be impossible in the real world. As participants interacted with this illogical environment, their brains showed patterns of activity similar to those observed during reported dreams, suggesting that the brain readily adapts to improbable situations. Another approach involves creating VR scenarios that deliberately evoke emotional responses. By presenting participants with distressing or unsettling images within a virtual setting, researchers are investigating how the brain processes and reacts to fear and anxiety, emotions that are frequently prominent in dreams. The potential implications of this research extend far beyond simply understanding the neural mechanisms of dreaming. Some scientists believe that controlled dream simulation could be used therapeutically. For instance, individuals struggling with phobias might be exposed to their fears in a safe, virtual environment, allowing them to confront and gradually overcome their anxieties. Similarly, VR dream simulation could be used to train surgeons, allowing them to practice complex procedures in a realistic and risk-free setting. Furthermore, the ability to intentionally create and manipulate dreamlike experiences could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness itself. By directly influencing the subjective experience of reality within the brain, we might gain valuable insights into the very nature of awareness and the factors that distinguish it from ordinary waking consciousness. It's a truly fascinating frontier, one where the line between science and imagination blurs, and the mysteries of the dreaming brain are slowly, deliberately, being brought into the light. The field of dream research stands on the precipice of a remarkable transformation, driven not just by observing reported dream content, but by wielding increasingly sophisticated tools to directly probe the very mechanisms underlying this nocturnal phenomenon. For decades, dream studies have relied heavily on subjective accounts. The often fragmented, frequently distorted, and inherently unreliable narratives individuals offer about their nighttime experiences. While these accounts provide crucial preliminary data, they represent only one layer of a profoundly complex process. Now, scientists are developing methods capable of capturing, analyzing, and ultimately understanding the electrical and chemical signals that sculpt the dream world. One of the most exciting developments is the refinement of neuroimaging techniques. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, has long been used to map brain activity during waking states, but its application to dreaming has been significantly enhanced. Researchers are developing specialized fMRI protocols designed to capture brain activity with higher temporal resolution, meaning they can track changes in brain activity with greater precision. This is particularly important because dreams occur rapidly, often within a time frame of a few seconds, and subtle shifts in neural activity can be lost if the scanner isn't sensitive enough. Furthermore, researchers are exploring portable fMRI systems, dramatically reducing the size and cost of equipment, making it feasible to study dreams in more naturalistic settings, even potentially within the dreamer's own bed. Beyond fMRI, electroencephalography (EEG) is undergoing a renaissance. Traditionally, EEG has been used primarily to monitor sleep stages, distinguishing between stages of light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. However, advancements in EEG technology allow researchers to record brain waves with unprecedented accuracy, identifying specific neural signatures associated with different dream phases. Researchers are now employing techniques like slow-scan EEG, SSEEG, and high-density EEG to pinpoint the precise brain regions activating and deactivating during dream sequences. This allows for a more granular understanding of the neurological correlates of specific dream content, like fear, joy, or complex narratives. The application of artificial intelligence is proving equally transformative. AI algorithms are being trained on massive datasets of EEG and fMRI data, alongside detailed dream reports, to identify patterns and correlations that might otherwise be missed by human analysts. These AI systems aren't simply looking for correlations. They're learning to predict dream content based on brain activity. Imagine an AI that, through continuous monitoring of brain signals, can anticipate the themes or emotional content of a dream before it fully manifests. This predictive capability could unlock a new level of insight into the underlying drivers of dream experiences. Another promising avenue lies in the development of dream probes. These are small, non-invasive devices that can be placed on the scalp to detect subtle changes in brain activity. Some researchers are experimenting with wearable sensors that can detect physiological signals like heart rate variability, respiration rate, and skin conductance, all of which are known to fluctuate during dreaming. By correlating these physiological signals with changes in brainwave patterns, researchers hope to gain a more holistic understanding of the dream experience, incorporating both neural and bodily responses. Furthermore, researchers are beginning to explore the potential of closed-loop systems, where external stimulation is used to influence dream content. While transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, was previously mentioned in Part 19, its application in dream research is becoming more refined. Using precisely targeted magnetic pulses, scientists can temporarily disrupt or enhance activity in specific brain regions during REM sleep, allowing them to investigate the causal relationship between neural activity and dream experiences. For example, stimulating the amygdala, the brain region heavily involved in processing emotions, might alter the intensity or nature of a fear dream. A particularly intriguing area of research involves the use of lucid dreaming technology. Lucid dreaming is a state where the dreamer is aware that they are dreaming and, in some cases, can even exert some control over the dream environment. Researchers are developing systems that can detect and encourage lucid dreaming, and then use this knowledge to study the neural mechanisms underlying conscious control within the dream state. The ability to consciously manipulate a dream provides an unprecedented opportunity to investigate how the brain constructs reality and how awareness itself is shaped during this extraordinary phenomenon. The ethical implications of these advancements are, of course, significant. The ability to influence or even record dreams raises questions about privacy, autonomy, and the potential for misuse. However, the potential benefits for understanding and treating mental health conditions, such as nightmares, PTSD, and anxiety, are enormous. For example, targeted stimulation during REM sleep could be used to retrain the brain's emotional response to threatening stimuli, helping individuals overcome debilitating nightmares. Beyond the immediate clinical applications, the data generated by these advanced dream research techniques could provide profound insights into the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. By mapping the neural correlates of dreaming, researchers may gain a deeper understanding of how our brains construct reality, how memories are formed and consolidated, and how our subjective experience arises from complex physical processes. The dream world, once considered a mysterious and unproductive side effect of sleep, is now emerging as a rich and valuable laboratory for exploring one of science's greatest mysteries: what it means to be human. The future of dream research isn't just about understanding why we dream. It's about unlocking the secrets of the mind itself. If you're still awake and enjoyed this exploration, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Ultimate Sleep Doctor. Together, we can soothe more wandering minds, one peaceful night at a time. We've journeyed through the fascinating world of dreams, uncovering the secrets behind those nightly visions. Now let your thoughts drift, calm and unhurried, as the darkness gently embraces you. Allow the quiet to settle, welcoming you into the stillness of sleep.